Hello and welcome to the Pride and Prejudice podcast.
Here we talk about twisted love triangles,
Second chances.
And everything in between.
Today we will be talking about themes, symbols, and quotes.
So obviously, like the first theme that we know is big in Pride and Prejudice is love, because it's a whole love story triangle. Obviously, we have Darcy and Elizabeth trying to be in love, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get married.
But that's more of a
goal.
love line, not a triangle.
And it's also like a part of reputation too. 'Cause
Yeah.
getting
Like-
love is also part of
Like
being considered wealthy.
all these themes tie into each other. Like I would say, like love is the mother, and then we have like reputation, social status, wealth, class,
Gender roles.
gender, family, integrity. Those are like the main themes that we're talking about. But love is like the main one that like branches off into all those things because of the relationships that are trying to build. And obviously we know the Pride and Prejudice because Darcy's pride and Elizabeth's prejudice. Well, I guess at the beginning he has more pride in himself than at the end. Like he gets rid of his pride.
Don't they kind of both have Pride and Prejudice?
You know, yeah.
I think that's where it is, because Darcy
Yeah.
judges Elizabeth at the beginning, and she says, like, if it was not for his pride, then I would have.
Yeah, like they're kind of both judging each other, and then they're kind of both like saying, I'm better because I'm so.
Yeah.
Well, because prejudice is opinion that is not based on a real or actual experience, it's preconceived. So that means like when Darcy was showing his pride at the beginning, she built a prejudice against him because of him like offending her.
Yeah, and that means judgment would also be a theme.
And
Yeah.
then Mr. Darcy didn't even hear her talk, and he was already like, she's too poor.
That's why he's the best character.
Yeah, it's all based on love.
Yeah, and then like the social status of like the Bennets being on like, okay, so they say they're like not on the wealthiest side, but like they say they're like poor. Like they don't say they're poor, but like they're not that wealthy. You know what I mean? Like they're on the,
Yeah, they're like,
but like,
yeah, they're like
middle class.
middle.
but like we looked at the house and I watched the movie and it's literally like,
A mansion, dude.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
super nice. Like they have land, which I mean is a good
Maybe
thing.
they're just trying to be humble.
Yeah,
this-
Not even unique.
but no one likes them. Everyone is saying like how, well not everyone, but the rich people are like saying how the Bennets are not suited to be married to Bingley and Darcy.
yeah.
Which is... And then also Charlotte goes off and marries Mr. Collins just for the money.
Wasn't? No. Wait, Charlotte married. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like another status thing to be able to get money. And also, but like, the love was definitely, like, I feel like 85% of these couples back in the day were all fake and they're just for money. You know what I mean?
That's pretty much what it is still now.
Yeah, it's
A
still
lot of
kind of
times.
like
Yeah, what would Darcy be like modern day? Is he like a billionaire?
Probably a millionaire because there's also, money was also like not bigger back then or whatever. Reputation was a big thing.
I think one of the earliest examples of reputation that we could see was like how quickly wealthy people are heard about, because like Mr. Bingley wasn't even like fully moved into was it Netherfield, I think it was,
Yeah.
and almost everybody in the general area was like, hey, did you hear about this new rich guy moving in and how he's so rich and that we should get married to him so our children would be rich?
Mm-hmm.
It's like with wealth and they got reputation. It's like
100
both,
gold diggers.
Yeah.
Literally.
They're
And,
both very tied together.
and like the women had high reputation, like they had to fit like the standards to be married and be like
Status.
like mothers and everything.
Yeah.
And that's why when Lydia runs away with Wickham and gets married out of wedlock, they're like, no. But that's like another thing because that's not what they wanted to do. Because then that, but then their other two daughters got married with the richest people around. So also.
Would you say like expectations is another theme?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, 'cause their parents expect a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we could put so many themes to this book, like about expectations and
Especially her mom.
yeah, and like living up, because like Miss Bennett is like so strict on them getting married and making sure that they are rich.
Do you think
'Cause-
that's why they had children? Was so they could get.
Probably.
Yeah.
So do you think that could make another theme of like, I don't know what to call it, like making your children do something that you couldn't? Like, what is it?
Like,
Manipulation.
they're just kind of like
Yeah.
manipulative.
But like, yeah, that's also like, I also don't feel like that's really, I don't feel like
Yeah.
that's their goal though, to be like
Yeah.
manipulated into having kids to get money.
It's more like just
It's
they
more-
want to be rich.
It's more like they're
I mean, they already had a really nice sex. They just want more. No, there's also not even like love, as in like marriage love, but there's also like family love, because all the sisters really love each other because they're willing to do a lot of stuff. Like how Elizabeth goes and sees Jane when it's still raining and she's sick of the other at Bingley's house. So there's also like a sisterly love there as well.
Yeah, and then there's the parents trying to have them marry rich people so they're not poor their whole lives, or sorry, middle class-ish.
Yeah, that was cool. The parents are obviously like the top, and they like have to make sure that they're making the right decisions and not like,
And especially, it's like their job, their roles, and like,
yeah,
make sure that.
make sure they're not screwing up their reputation.
Or the generations to come.
Yeah,
And
that's,
then there's Mr. Darcy, who I think showed like actual love instead of just like quote unquote love, just like have an excuse to marry a rich person, because he was willing to stoop down to a lower class despite Lady de Bourgh, I think, telling him that he needs to marry a rich person, and that even though Miss Bennett, I knew that's gonna happen. Bennett, or no, Elizabeth. Why did I say Miss Bennett? Even though Elizabeth didn't have as much money, he was still willing to marry her, because that might have been like actual love.
But he doesn't really have money to worry about. He'll probably be set for the rest of his
Even if
life.
she was rich, she wouldn't probably care even still, because he's like
If she was rich,
one of the wealthiest guys. And
yeah.
yeah,
He's set,
Yeah,
but
but
he's
like-
set, basically set.
yeah. Why does it even matter his wealth? Why does the aunt care if
why
he
does he
marries
just live by
someone poor?
himself,
I
dude?
know.
Like, you don't have to spend as much money.
Well, it's probably because of the whole prejudice thing. Like, they expect their
Yeah.
children to marry other rich people, but he just like didn't care. He wanted
Yeah, and that way, like, just.
Elizabeth because he liked her.
You know, even though we're not supposed to be connecting supplemental text, this is not my supplemental text, but this is kind of like the reputation reminds me of
Taylor Swift.
No.
wait, what's the one guy from Romeo and Juliet that likes to keep his reputation? Was it Mercutio or Benvolio?
Benvolio.
Benvolio, how he was telling Mercutio not to fight in public and stuff because he wants to keep his reputation and stuff.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Bennet family, because they do all their dirty work in secret, and then out in public they keep their reputation high and stuff.
Also, something that we can use about Elizabeth is her integrity. Because
Responsible young woman.
that's like a thing that I feel like stands out, because we obviously see more about Elizabeth because she's like the main character. But
Yeah, but then she becomes like not the main character.
yeah.
She like character undevelops.
Honestly, she kind of does.
She's very kind of. I feel like she kind of immatures. In a
Because
way.
we get like more, like, yes, we learn about like Jane and Bingley, but then at the end I feel like it's more about the other characters. Like, yes, it's about Darcy and Elizabeth, but like,
Yeah,
it's
like,
about the other characters a lot too, so we kind of like,
yeah, as it got more complicated, the characters that were more important would take a backstage for a little while because everything just slowly evolved into chaos.
And then it ended basically with them all getting married, but
Yeah, who's to say? It was kind of a felt like a little bit of a quick wrap up. Like the writer was like, oh, finally my hand can stop being cramped all day from writing.
but that's like, she kind of like gets annoyed. Like, she got annoyed about Darcy and, like, how he called her not the handsomest. But like, she then found out that he was a good person and like, married him.
But that's like a proposal in our section to figure that out. Which kind of also shows that Elizabeth is a very stubborn person and not very open-minded, I guess, because she didn't really take Darcy in at first and then took a lot to change her mind, because she kind of assumes she's a very stubborn person.
That makes sense too.
That, or she just takes her time to think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I guess so.
It could be both, because like she'll like say no, then she'll like think about it for like almost the whole chapter, and then she'll be like, on second thought.
She's impulsive. She takes time to think about a thought, but then she doesn't. I feel like she doesn't look at the consequences as much as she does look at the present time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's more of a priority to say no than think, then return. Instead of just like, let me think about it. It's like, oh yeah, wait a second, nope. Alright.
Yeah.
We're good.
It's like, I don't know. She's an interesting character.
So now let's talk about symbols a little bit.
I think a symbol in a book is rain.
Or the umbrella, like,
But rain kind of symbolizes separation, because every time that it's raining, there's someone separated from another. And I think separation is a big part of the book, because a lot of the time certain people are away from another, and having to get through that separation, kind of like Elizabeth going through the rain to see Jane, is kind of like pushing through that separation and getting over it.
Yeah, that one's good. Or like, I think this is more of a motif because we see them more. Or the houses.
The houses?
Because it like shows status.
And
Because
Okay, yeah, that's good.
because like Darcy's house or Bailey's house, where there's more like balls or they go there rarely, is like shows like that you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to like this fancy party. And like then out in the countryside where the Bennets live, I feel like that also shows that they're like lower.
It's like, it takes place in the houses and all that, but they didn't exactly describe the Bennett's house. Bennett's house as much. Even though they were there a whole bunch, we didn't really get a clear description, so you had to kind of like imagine a little bit.
Yeah.
So, the Mr. Bennett's library kind of became like the giant library that SpongeBob has for me for a while. I don't know why I did that, but with the Pemberley house, I thought of like a giant mansion or something with like servants and all that running about, keeping the place clean. So, like, it really like kind of hammered in that it was a really grand place to be.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not a lot of symbols in this book.
I think another symbol would be like the outdoors, like outside, because it kind of like represents clear judgment. And whenever characters are outside in the book,
Something happens,
and they always make decisions that are very clear and precise. That's where their decisions are at.
Honestly,
like
like a lot of very important things happen outside.
Yeah, I feel like the outdoors can be.
From Jane going to Bingley's house, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
If she would never went there, nothing probably would have ever happened.
Right.
When
Elizabeth and Darcy are walking.
Yup, on their walks in Proposal, like they're walking with Wickham, and Darcy and Bingley are riding on horses, and they see them, and then we find out that Wickham's actually like scammer.
Yes.
So like that's like an important thing too. I feel like, maybe mail or notes too, probably as well.
What could that symbolize?
Like,
Maybe that's
second chances.
Well, I was thinking when I said about rain being the separation, maybe the mail could be connection.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like the
that works too.
opposite of the rain.
Because the letter from
Yeah, because that's kind of like the whole point of mail, anyways.
Yeah.
connecting people. Right after this ad, we'll be back with playing a game.
Long ago in a land far, far away.
Oh, it's such a lovely tale. I love this carriage around. It's
stop by the Burnett Stables to saddle up your carriage today. Yeah!
Nerd!
Okay, welcome to our game. We are matching the quotes to a theme.
Since Lauren and Reagan are not here today, it's just me, Jackson, and Lincoln.
Hello.
But this is our last episode of the Pride and Prejudice podcast. So this is the last time you'll be hearing our annoying voices.
What? Your guys' voices? Mine
Oh.
is lovely.
Yeah. Okay, so the first quote that I'm going to be reading, you guys, is, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife." So Lincoln buzzed in first. What theme do you think that was?
That?
Okay, let me say the themes that we have.
Okay, yeah, multiple choice.
So we have social status / reputation, pride and prejudice, like, you know how like you have pride and like the prejudice towards someone. Integrity, vanity, and marriage.
Social status. Was that one of the options?
Yes, that was one of them, but that's not it.
Oh, Jackson, you just.
Probably. Hang on, I need a second to think. I usually am not quick on
This one is the easiest one, guys.
I know, but I'm not quick on the draw when it comes to that word. I would have to say either marriage or prejudice.
Yeah, it's marriage. I think I was married because I thought it was marriage because it was like you have to get married and like that's like a main theme. But also it could also be social status too. Which is like I guess, but I don't know. I had it as marriage.
So marriage and social status.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next?
Yeah, okay.
You don't have to read the whole thing if you don't want to.
Is that the next one? Okay. The more I see of the world, the more I am dissatisfied with it. And every day confirms my belief in the inconsistency of all human characters and of the little dependence that can be placed on the appearance of merit or sense.
I think that was integrity.
That sounds like prejudice to me.
I don't know.
Just go off my wit.
Yeah.
I mean, think about
Yeah,
it.
I was
She's-
thinking prejudice.
Yeah, 'cause she's like saying like everybody's like ignorant, I guess. You know, the more I
Yeah,
see
but-
other people, the more I understand them.
Yeah,
I'm
then
just
it's
like,
yeah.
We're judging.
But like also integrity, like you have like a strong.
Yeah, but that's
I'm
not
not sure
But-
that's strong integrity.
Integrity is doing things.
Yeah, because
you know,
integrity, I
right.
feel like you're being more honest. Like,
No, integrity is doing things even when nobody's watching, like your personal self.
yeah, but you're like saying the honest truth too. Like you're saying.
Well,
that's not
if I
truth.
say I hate this person, that's not
That's not the
integrity.
truth.
But
Yeah,
it's
but
true.
like the more I
It's
see the
more
world, the
like-
more I am dissatisfied with it. That's the truth. Like she's being honest. Like she just doesn't.
That's
want-
honesty, not integrity.
It's like,
Yeah, I don't know.
is that narcissism? I think. I don't know.
Narcissism is like thinking that you're right. Well, the
Okay.
world's around you.
Yeah, so narcissism.
Okay. That one was okay. So the first one was obviously just the narrator, and the second one was Elizabeth, and then
All right. This quote reads, "Had I been in love, I could not have been more wretchedly blind, but vanity, not love, has been my volley."
Vanity.
yeah, that one was stuff like that I was talking about.
Yeah, so
Okay, that one was easy.
I mean, it literally says it.
Well, let's dive a little deeper
Let's
into the
dive.
quote.
Let's acknowledge this quote here.
Yeah. So let's. What are the important parts of it? What sticks out, and why?
Had I been in love, I could not have been more wretchedly blind.
So that is saying,
So,
like, you know,
If she was in love, she'd be blind, right?
Yeah, because, like, if
Like,
she's in love,
She's not gonna see the world how she actually sees it now.
Kinda like Romeo and Juliet. They were blind with love, right?
Yeah.
Your supplemental text was catching fire.
I know, but it's okay. We can connect stuff to different texts, you know.
But, yeah, so, like, she's kind of, like, saying if I had been in love, I wouldn't be able to take all this time to think about the overall thing.
And it's
Because
yeah.
Elizabeth always is thinking.
Yeah, she's a very, I agree with that. And it says, but vanity, not love, has been my folly. So, like, admiration for herself
Yeah.
has been her. I don't feel like she was ever like, oh my gosh, I'm so pretty either. I don't feel like that was
Yeah,
like,
she was
that's
very
probably,
humble.
That's probably why she took so long to marry, too, because she was, like...
She's calculative.
yeah.
She thought about the consequences and decisions.
Yeah, because she's like, why would I marry this guy if he's got so much like prejudice?
And pride.
Yeah, she doesn't want that. She wants.
Oh
a guy
no, he
who's-
wasn't necessarily prideful. He was just shy. Like they misinterpreted his uniqueness for
A bit silly.
yeah.
Okay. Next one I have said by Darcy. They were intact, very fine ladies. Fortune and their own have been acquired by trade. And like along with it said, do not make yourself uneasy, my dear cousin, about your apparel.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's on the same page that I had down. I don't know if it's the same. It doesn't seem like the same.
Sorry, I had trouble hearing the quote.
Okay. So the first one that's written down is do not make yourself uneasy, my dear cousin, about your apparel. And the other one is they are intact, very fine ladies. Fortune and their own have been acquired by trade.
I don't know, what theme does that fit with?
Who said that?
Darcy.
Darcy did.
And that's like what do you mean by two different quotes? Like two different
They're two different things. I think he was talking about Collins though. Because he was talking, yeah, he was referring to Collins.
So is that I feel like that'd be kind of like social status because
Yes.
if you acquired wealth, that means you didn't really work for it, and that's where you're put in society because back then, like your ranking was kind of based on wealth.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't have one down, but I think that's like reputation, social status.
And probably marriage too, because you know that's wealth earned through marriage.
Mhm.
Yeah, all three of those like go together. Okay, here's the next one.
So a lot of these quotes are just mixed with a whole bunch of themes.
Mhm. Okay, this one is said by I don't know.
I think Darcy.
Okay, it's just okay. The quote is, "Which do you mean?" And turning around, he looked for a moment at Elizabeth, till catching her eye.
Or it's about Darcy. This one's about Darcy.
Okay. He withdrew his own and coldly said, "She's not tolerable, but not handsome. She is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me. I am in no humor at present to give consequence to young ladies who are slighted by other men. You had better return to your partner and enjoy her smiles, for you are wasting your time with me."
Pride.
I think so, because,
Pride in himself.
he's saying, she's tolerable, but not handsome enough.
Yeah.
And he also says, you had better return to your partner and enjoy her smiles, for you're wasting your time.
Obviously, this story is called Pride and Prejudice, and like he is Pride, she's Prejudice,
Yeah.
and that's how the whole thing started.
Yeah.
The book is named after the main theme.
Yeah, there's something that I heard that I wanted to say, but I don't remember now. Oh, I don't understand why they call like women handsome.
Yeah, they called guys like pretty.
Yeah, like they flip. So
What point in history did that happen?
I don't know.
I don't know, because like that's a very handsome girl you have there, and they'd say like pretty man. Maybe that's what I call it, like these never mind. Like pretty boys. Like I don't know, pretty boys
Yeah,
are like
I think that I've heard that in like old movies too. Pretty
Yeah.
weird. I like books and
Mhm.
stuff.
Alright.
Okay, this is the last one, Jackson.
Alright. Ooh, that's a little bit blurry.
Yeah.
I could easily forgive his pride if he had not mortified mine.
Prejudice.
Prejudice, but I also feel like Prejudice. But I feel like there's something else to that, maybe a different theme, because
That was a short quote, but I feel like that's what Jane's response, Elizabeth's response was to Darcy, calling her not handsome enough.
Yeah. It sounds like Prejudice, but there's also probably like another smaller theme.
it's like a theme of like hurt, because she probably took a lot of offense from that.
Well, she
Yeah.
did take a lot of
Yeah.
offense to that. She was just called ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pain,
But I feel like also I don't know like what they showered with I feel like they were like told like that they look good and stuff too usually.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like Bailey and Jane's chemistry, like that was the first time they met and he was nice to her too, but Darcy was kind of a brat.
Right. So with all the quotes mixed together, obviously Pride and Prejudice are the main themes to the book. But what else do you think?
I
are
think
the main-
social status is probably the next one because like
yeah.
Yeah.
marriage can go into social status along with reputation, but like I feel like social status is the next.
And then there's wealth after
Yeah,
that.
that-
Which kind of like branches off of social status.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, if
wealth
we have social
builds
status-
social status. It's not exactly a branch. It's like a theme that. Oh wow, It's like a theme that builds social status into a bigger theme. because
Yeah, like
wealth-
if we had a stump, we had wealth and marriage, and like it turns into social status, and like reputation goes
Like
off.
the
that.
branches and the leaves is social status, because that's what you see, and then behind all of that is the
Yeah.
kind of-
It's because there's a lot of
Or no, what's the biggest theme? So the biggest
Pride and
theme is
Prejudice.
yeah. So the biggest theme would be Pride and Prejudice. That's what you see, and then under it is all the other themes that you have to read through to find.
So it's
out.
like a pyramid, exactly like a pyramid. You know, the biggest theme at the bottom, holding it all together, is the Pride and Prejudice, and then it gets smaller to like,
Yeah.
the less useless things.
Yeah.
Or more useless things.
And then there's also the tree theme we're just doing.
Yeah.
'Cause all the other ones build Pride and Prejudice as
Mhm.
well.
yeah.
They all work.
So what was your guys' like? Let's go around.
Wait, did we talk about themes or supplemental text?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So what was your overall thoughts on the book, Jackson?
It was alright. It told a story, which is what books are supposed to do. So it's already got the halfway mark, but beyond that, it doesn't get that much because it's too difficult for me to read. I'd have to sit down like Mr. Bennett to, read it
Mm-hmm.
instead of all the other stuff that I can't really focus on because it's such a very wordy book. But it was alright. It was an alright book.
Yeah, now that, okay, so when I was reading it, I was like, bruh, this is so boring. I cannot understand this. Like, because it was like old. So it's like, thou shalt we go to the bar.
Yeah.
But now, like, looking at it, I think it's actually like a really good plot. Like, it's like actually like nail biting to see like what's gonna happen. Like, not like that. Like, it's not like that adrenaline pumping. But
It's a bit
like,
predictable, I'd say, but it still is entertaining. If like
Yeah.
let's say you put it into a movie or something.
like I never watched the movie. I thought like the movie gave it more vibe because you can see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But like I thought it was just like a good love story. How big are your feet?
Size 15.
Holy!
You like feet, don't you? That's
No, I was looking down and my shoe fell off, and your foot is like giant.
Anyway, on to my point of view, I hated the book, to be completely honest.
Wow. Well, you
I-
thought Darcy was your favorite character.
I thought
so.
I would toss the book into a dumpster fire, to be completely honest. I'd burn it in a pot of acid. But other than that, I thought Darcy was pretty cool.
I thought the like themes and message behind it was good.
The message behind it was good. I mean, the only reason I was in this group is so I could be with people I knew.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. I honestly thought this book was about racism going.
Yeah, I
That's
honestly
why
didn't know this was
I
a
would
love
have read it
story.
in that case, but
I didn't know this was a love story. I thought it was like I thought it was about like I thought it was way boringer.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a word.
Wait.
Boringer.
I thought it was about racism, so I thought going in I'd
Pride
hear
and
like this
Prejudice,
whole
yeah.
I'd hear like this whole story about like how this guy overcame racism and I come out with a good message. But no, I came out realizing that wealth, marriage, and social status
And
is
second
like,
chances.
and second chances.
Marry
is
a
like
rich guy.
chewing
It's the
on
moral of the story.
sawdust.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at all these books, Dracula, Pride and Prejudice, Great Gatsby,
I
and
would have
Little
so much
Women
rather read Dracula.
they're all love stories
Oh,
though, too.
Yeah.
Loki, I don't know what Dracula's about other than a vampire.
Yes, same. Dude, I wish we put Animal Farm on there, because Animal Farm is such a good book.
Yeah,
it's so
I heard
good.
about that.
It's so good.
I felt all these books are actually kind of similar, like a lot in a way.
A lot of them are pretty similar.
I feel like Dracula's probably the most out there because it's about a vampire.
Yeah.
But the other ones are really close. Like Little Women and Pride and Prejudice, I feel like are really similar
Yeah.
because of like the sisters. Like it's literally a copy and paste of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Great Gatsby is probably like Mr. Darcy.
Yeah,
in a
like-
different universe.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like it's like more about Darcy and Bingley than like the other Bennets and stuff.
Oh yeah, because I was thinking just Mr. Darcy in our supplemental text
Yeah.
segment, but now that you say it, it does sound a lot like Darcy and Bingley if like they were just meeting for the first time
Yeah.
and Darcy.
Dude, I want a Darcy and Bingley backstory.
Yeah, honestly, like we need more backstory. Like I understand, like the girls just like live, but like what about the other two? Like, like we don't really talk about their parents that much. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I mean,
really
just a
told
little
how
bit.
they came about.
isn't
like-
Mrs. wasn't Bingley's mom doing it?
No, Darcy has
Darcy's aunt,
Darcy's
but
aunt. There's not much about Darcy's parents, but I want to know where they got that huge house from. Like,
yeah, like just
Pemberley
inherited,
and-
or like what? Yeah, Pride and Prejudice, what's it called?
Zombies.
No, prequel.
Pride and Prejudice.
Prequel, yeah.
Oh yeah.
More on that. Yeah, guys, actually, we are going to Hollywood next week, and we are making the Pride and Prejudice prequel.
No thanks. I would drop dead.
Yep.
Yes. We are having not the original cast because they're too old, so more details to come on that.
Well, I think that wraps it up for the Pride and Prejudice podcast. I highly suggest reading the book. It was a great journey through love and emotions. A lot of love triangles. Second chances. Everything's about second chances.
And everything in between.
And everything in between, guys.
Well, it's been fun, and we're glad you came in to listen to us rant about this book and talk about all the other books that relate to it. And hopefully this convinces you to read it and see what message you take from it.
Let's all say good morrow and on the count of 3. 3. Or 1, 2, 3.
Good morrow.
morrow.